Hello, bonjour. This is Marino with elegantfemme.com and welcome back to Paris. I'm actually right in front of the steps of the Musée d'Orsay, and behind me you can see the Seine, and over here in this corner you can see a gorgeous bridge that has a bunch of little locks on it, which is perfect because I want to talk to you about what this city can teach us about love. So you may know that Paris is known as one of the most romantic cities in the world, and I have to really agree with that. In fact, when we first moved here, we were walking through the park just about over there on the left, and I said to my husband, my goodness, my boys are going to get a sex education class in the middle of the park. People kiss all over this city. It really is a romantic city. And I heard from a lawyer just recently, he said before he will divorce any of his clients, so, you know, they come to him for a divorce, he tells them they have to go to Paris for a vacation. And if they come back and they still want a divorce, then he'll go ahead with it. Okay, so this city does have a lot of magical places and feelings that really do enhance this level of love. What I want to talk to you about is the opportunity that Paris gives us to fall in love with ourselves. So one of the things that I've really recognized about this city is how it shows up unapologetically, how it doesn't hide or pretend to be anything else. You really know when you get here that you're in Paris. You don't walk around a street corner and mistake it for Georgia or even New York City. You really know you're in Paris. One of the things I find that's happening in relationships is that we're not showing up fully as we are. And this is, you know, I hear from a lot of women, a lot of my clients who are just searching. I have gum in my mouth. I gotta get it out. It's not working. Should I keep going?
Yeah, of course.
This is really romantic here.
Wait, now I gotta hold it? Oh.
So you have to be really honest. I'll talk to you more about that in a minute. This is gonna be hysterical if I end up showing you this. What I hear from a lot of women is that, Tara, if I could just find love, if I could just find that man, if I could just find that soulmate, then my life would really be complete. And although as women we know that it has to start with us, we know that if we're not aligned internally, then we're not going to attract that. We have that knowing, but there's still this ache. There's still this ache if we had that amazing relationship in our life. Maybe you don't have a relationship at all and you're searching for one, or maybe you already have a relationship and you're really wanting that relationship to unfold into the relationship that you've always been seeking. And yet there's some really big piece that we miss out on. If our femme types are not in sync, if we're not in alignment with our Frenchie and our Indie, that relationship is not going to come to fulfillment in the way that we want it to. So remember, the Frenchie is about relationships, it's about body image. So when you think about Paris showing up, just be with me for a minute in this. Paris shows up in one way that can really reflect back at us how we can love ourselves more fully as women, and that is honesty. That is honesty. So here's what I want you to do this week. I want you to get really honest with yourself. This is not about getting really honest with your partner. This is not about some, my husband came back from the Landmark Forum one weekend. Yeah, not that kind of honesty. I'm talking about you getting honest with yourself. You getting honest with yourself, whether you're in a relationship or you're not. So my invitation for you this week is to sit down and make a list. What things in your life are working, what things in your life are not working, and get really honest. There are places inside of ourselves that we don't want to take a look at as women. There are things that we ultimately know aren't working, but we're afraid. We're afraid to even open up that idea. If you're not fully showing up honestly in the world, you are not going to attract that relationship that you're really seeking. And if you're in a relationship currently right now and for you aren't showing up honestly in the world, that level of depth of love that you could really receive from your Frenchie will be impossible for you. Okay? So within that, you know, we're doing the Paris Day, and it's coming up soon. So imagine what it would be like for you to come to the Paris experience and for you to enjoy 2.5 days where we really do get honest, where you really do take a look inside of who you are, allowing yourself to show up as, and be in a place of love where you can fall in love with yourself. You can fall in love with yourself again. In fact, we had a woman come here to Paris. She came to the Paris experience. She went through the whole Paris experience process with her Frenchie. She fell in love, and she came back and married that man, and now she lives here. We had another woman on the Paris experience that went home, and she was asked by her friends if she was having an affair because she was so happy and glowing, and the level of intimacy in her relationship got taken to a whole new level. She wasn't having an affair. She wasn't in a new love. She'd been married for some time. But she found that level of honesty inside herself and fell in love with herself and was able to bring that home. So if the Paris experience is speaking to you, all the details are below. And I would love to share this magical city with you and show you how you can really fall in love with yourself again. Next time, I'm going to be talking to you about how Paris shows us and really models for us how we can show up in the world in a way that really does magnify who we are as women.
Say that again.
There's Paris. I'm going to say it again. On the next time, I'm going to share with you how Paris can show us how to show up in the world. How we're really, really showing up in the world. For so many of us as women, we don't realize how we're showing up. Other people observe us, and we don't realize some of the vibes that we might be putting off. This is really, really important, especially when it comes to the friendship relationship. You might think you know how you're being observed or how you're showing up in the world, but you don't. So I'll share that with you next time. For now, make that list. Be honest with yourself. What's working and what's not working. And I'll talk to you soon from Paris. Au revoir. A bientôt.